Welcome to the Playful Enchantress. I am Leah Spinrad. I am an energy worker, a decluttering coach, a meal prep wizard, a financial coach. I mean, I do so many things, and I'm also doing that through an intuitive lens. So we're going to do a reading like we do every week, which is going to be a 1-card pull, maybe another card if I need a little bit more information. And that's going to be an intuitive lens at which I'm going to use to talk about our week ahead and how we're going to take care of our homes and our families and our lives best. So I'm going to go back to my picture book of Anna Cortez, which is one of my most, where's her head? She's upside down. Most favorite decks. I also don't do upside reverses in this. So if I pull it reverse, I just turn it over just to clean that up for the messaging that I have established that. So this is for the week of January 31st to February. I shouldn't try to do math. I will put up a new reading on Friday next week. This is going up on Saturday because of the general strike yesterday. I didn't film it on Thursday because I just felt like things were shifting so much energetically that I wanted to wait. So filming this on Saturday, going to also publish it the same day. So here we go. Week ahead for all of us. I got the Ruin, which is wintry. It looks like a terrible card, but like a lot of cards, it can be bad or good. It really is neutral, and it's how you approach it. So with this particular card, you're seeing a ruin, and then you've got all this like plant matter, and it's clearly winter, which is perfect because we have been in winter, right? Most of us in the Northeast and then all along, the whole East Coast have been just blanketed in snow and ice and really under winter. And then out in the world, there's been a lot of crumbling, right, of law and order, of our understanding of what institutions are supposed to do. And it's also kind of like just a rest card where you need to rest. So when you're pulling this type of card, you can go, oh, does this mean like bad things are going to happen? Well, we're already in some bad things. So yes. And what I'm getting for all of us is this is the time to rest and also just kind of parse out what doesn't work in your home. So kind of like the bricks in this description in this book, they say like the bricks that have crumbled from the old wall can be used to build something new. So what do you have that's like fuel for the future? And it could be knowledge, right? It could be your own experience. And how is it going to move into the future? So taking this next week to like truly rest, obviously call your representatives, help your neighbors. Not saying rest in a way where you're withdrawing from the world, but like maybe go easy on yourself in some ways. And if you're noticing things around your house that aren't working, like take like a week of curiosity here and say, oh, so this doesn't work. How could it work? Or in our particular house, we have a fairly small house, and I think square footage wise, it's fine, but like all of the floors are small. So we're often like, oh, what if we just turned this? And then like we turn a piece of furniture. I'm like, oh, the whole entire time I've been thinking about this wrong. And it happened very recently in the house, and I turned something and I went, oh, it's fit like that this whole time we've lived here. And I've never even thought to like just turn it. And then suddenly, because I turned the dresser or whatever it was, the whole room made more sense. I was like, what? Why is this taking so long? So I think for this week, what I'm feeling is let's rest, be creative, and look around for what's there that can be used to build something new and clear away our thoughts about what it was already. It's like, what I'm getting is, let's imagine you go into a really overwhelming situation, a fridge that is like gross, right? And you're looking and you're like, oh, but the carrots are fine, right? And this other thing is fine. And maybe you had meal plans and you have to change them. But if you're going into a room and that room is very dirty and it feels like it's unusable, or it is unusable, that doesn't mean everything in the room is unusable, unless it is, you know, fires, hoarding situations, some things actually become unusable. But it's like the good bones idea. Like, what is in here that is worth salvaging and what is not? And with some rest and some creativity, sometimes those things become a lot more obvious, whereas we're just pushing and trying to make something happen, we don't get there. So if we're going to be resting, we're going to be letting ourselves be creative about our situations. And I'm really seeing this could be for everybody watching this and getting like, there's distinctive messages. So if your finances are feeling really tight because everything's expensive, maybe you didn't have as much work as you expected. Everybody, like, I feel like it's really common, like December is super expensive because you have the holidays and everything. And then you have January where you're trying to make it up. And then this January is just sticky. Look around at what you have to make do with. Like, maybe you have things you could sell, maybe you have things you could build and serve a purpose. Like if you're like, oh, we need a piece of furniture, like, oh, well, what if we use this thing over here? It's like not buying stuff because maybe you could make use of what you already have, but then also finding the gold in your own situation that you're already in, and being like, okay, well, this is hard. And if I take these lessons and like actually apply them for the next 11 months, maybe next year, January doesn't have to be so hard, right? If I budget and plan for January all year, maybe January doesn't have to feel like this if we have a Christmas savings account. Like look through your Christmas spending or your holiday spending and like, how much do you spend? Look through last month, because you know, and then like chunk that out for the next year. You get to next January and you can rest without the rest plus crumbling feeling. If your issues are really heavy feeling things going on in your home, like your home is very overwhelming and full of things and difficult to clean or work with, seeing this idea of practicing seeing the forest for the trees a little bit and delineating the spaces and how you want them to function and getting daydreamy about it. So you're like, okay, this is how I want this room to be, because this is a spades card, which is earth. So it's very physical, but at the same time, it's about rest and being like covered a little bit like by snow. So if you're in a part of rest, you're like, okay, what can I do here? Daydream about how you want the room to work, or how maybe it worked in the past and how you'd like to bring that back. Or if you had another space and it worked a certain way, like give yourself time to daydream that, and then make a few moves physically to do it, but don't overwhelm yourself, because this is a rest time. It's like a rest time where you can take stock of things, and then when things thaw in the spring, we can start to make changes. This is like a time of recognizing what's broken. And obviously we are doing that politically a little bit. If you're, you know, keyed into the fact that the general strike was pretty large and people are saying, hey, you know, we don't want this system. Let's take stock of how it's broken, like truly accept that. And we could do that in our homes and in our lives as well. So like really look at the systems that you've created and how maybe they are broken. And if you don't think you have a system, but you're doing the same thing all the time. You kind of do have a system. It's just a system you didn't think through, right? If you always throw all your shoes in the floor of the hallway and then you trip every single time you come through, it just feels overwhelming. That is the system. The system is throwing all the shoes down. It's not maybe functional, but it's still a system. So you can design a system that is functional, but take this time to think about it and really think without acting. Just in your home, think through how you want something to work and how you want it to be. And then from there, I'm feeling like soon there'll be the time to start acting. Like, and I'm not saying don't act at all. Take out the trash, whatever. I'm saying, like, if you're like, oh, you know what, I do want to totally redo this room and paint it. Not yet, but thinking about what it'll be like once that's done in a way that feels attainable and not overwhelmed. If you think about that and you're like, okay, I'm completely overwhelmed, step back and say, okay, what if I imagine this room without 5 rooms worth of stuff in it? And that's what I'm getting for this week from this card, the Ruin card. I also love this card in general because it feels like, you know, modern day castles that have fallen away. And so there is something here too about just like permanence and impermanence. So when you've got that falling away and something that is a ruin, it's also a bit like, what's the holdover from the past? What's standing now that like is something that you don't think about anymore? So that's the last piece of this that is just coming through, which is that what do you do in your home and maybe in your life at large that is a relic of something in the past? So do you hoard food because you used to be food insecure and you're no longer food insecure and you can let go of that? It's like a release card in that you're like, okay, this system's still standing from another time. Did you learn that you had to make everything from scratch because, you know, that was the way you were raised, but now you're overwhelmed trying to make everything from scratch? That's, you can let that go and try something new. That's not for me or anything. What I'm saying is, even financially, what patterns are presenting themselves that once you look at them a little bit critically, you're like, oh, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore because I was doing it for a reason and the reason is gone, but the pillar, the behavior is still there. So that's the meat of that. So I'm going to give you a journaling exercise. Or I always say, when I say journaling, it doesn't have to be journaling if you're not a big writer. You can always use your phone and do a voice note. I think that's great if you're taking a walk, or just talk out loud to yourself somewhere. I do that all the time. Pretend you're on the phone, right? People don't know. Put your earbuds in. Pretend you're talking to someone, but ask yourself, what in my life right now that's not working? What system in my life that's not working is there because at one point I needed it? I'll write that down here. At what point, what system in my life that is not working is there because I used to need it, or I've developed it when I needed it and now it no longer serves me? That's my homework to you. So dismantle that habit or that idea. Sometimes just understanding where it came from is all you need to do. Sometimes it's a little bit more tricky than that, but like thinking about that idea, undoing that behavior, and then seeing what's left to rebuild from after you've had a little rest and a little bit of time to integrate this change, then you can rebuild from there. That's what I'm getting. So have a great week. I will be on Threads and Instagram and here in the comments. If you want to ask questions or go a little further with this, please do. And I will see you next Friday at 9 a.m. as scheduled. So until then, have a great week. Keep putting one foot in front of the other and connecting and making community, because that is truly the thing that is going to get us through all of this. Mwah! Bye.